Step into a life, find your place. Living the fit life with a smile on your face. Feel the beat rise on this incredible ride. We're here for you, take it all in stride. Free, intentional, true, that's our cue. Together we'll shine, it's all brand new. The Full Embrace Podcast, here to break through. Living the fit life, come join the crew.
Okay. Welcome, everybody. Welcome to the Full Embrace Podcast. I am your host, Crystal, and I will welcome all of you who are here for the first time. And if this is just your subsequent time visiting and sharing some of your time with me, I appreciate your loyalty. So I have with me a familiar face. You've seen her on a previous podcast, and I thought I would bring her back just because, she has a little bit of insight, and we've been friends for a long time. So we can get into some things about some of these toxic behaviors. And I'm going to tell you a little bit more about our discussion for today. But first, I'm going to allow her to reintroduce herself and just share a little bit about herself.
Well, hello everybody. My name is Kenesha Curtis, also known as Niecy. I have a business called Ain't Niecy's, where I do a little bit of a lot. I do hair, catering, childcare, crafting, and anything I pretty much get my hands on. So I'm happy to be here with you guys.
Jack of all trades, for real. But since she gave her plug, I'm going to go ahead and tell you about our sponsor for today, which happens to be, Imani Counseling Services. For those of you who have thought about counseling, have ever considered counseling for yourself, Imani Counseling Services, edit that out. Imani Counseling Services right now is accepting new clients for online sessions. So it's convenient. You can do it from anywhere. You have your phone or your tablet. So you can reach me at 346-248-8348. All right. So let's get into it.
It's time for us to look into ourselves so we can take accountability for our actions, right?
This is true. And this came about for me because I'm personally in a space where I'm trying to grow up in a lot of ways. And I've reached a point in my life, not too far from the mid-century mark.
Right.
So I figured, hey, it's time to let some of these things go and elevate. I'll get more into that. Why are you wanting to look at some of these?
Well, one, because I was invited.
Okay.
But I just thought that, the topic was kind of, very intriguing. It's not really some, often that we think about what we do to cause some of the problems that we go through. And so I thought that, why not look into ourselves? Why not, take this opportunity to figure out if things can go different and if we are, in fact, a problem of, damaged relationships or anything like that.
Mm-hmm. So am I to understand that prior to this invitation, you didn't consider yourself having any problems or being a contributing factor?
I'm going to say that, I'm not going to say that I never thought about, whether something that I was doing was an issue. But it's not something that I would, that I had on the front of my mind. So now that, it was brought up, it's now think about it. Wait a minute. Am I really the problem? Did I cause this to happen?
Yeah.
And if it is, addressing it will help us, move forward, to better and healthier relationships. So, yeah.
Okay. It's time to get real and very raw. So I was inspired too, not only by my own journey where I am in my own life, but of course, scrolling through social media, that everything is a trend. Everything is a topic. Everything is everything. So I came across this one video that I wanted to share and kind of see what your thoughts are, how we can kick off from there, talk about our own stuff.
Right.
So let's do it.
All right, y'all. There are 10 toxic behaviors that can cause damage to any relationship. I mean, any. Let's get into it. Number one, they are jealous of everyone. Number two, they take things way too personally. Number three, they are always the victim. Always. Number four, they hoard pain and loss. Number five, obsessive negative thinking. Number six, they lack emotional self-control. Seven, lacking empathy, concern, or compassion for others. They the only one that matter. Number eight, they need constant validation. It's insatiable. Number nine, inflexibility. Number 10, an unwillingness to take accountability for their actions. All right, y'all.
All right. So did y'all hear that? I mean, this lady talked about some stuff that is really real. Yeah. I just had some things. I don't know if she was talking about herself or she was talking about just what she's observed in other people. But so let's do it. So you said you were able to relate to some of those.
And you will put me first.
I don't we don't talk about it. Well, I know. I know. My main toxic behavior. Well, let's define it first. Toxic behavior. Like when you hear that phrase, what do you think?
When I think of toxic behaviors, it's basically characteristics in you that are not healthy, that that's damaging, to you yourself and the person that you're dealing with, friends, relationship partners, or whatever the case is. And also anything that goes against the person that we were designed and created to be.
Oh, okay, you went fierce on that. You thought, okay. Well, yeah, I agree. Anything that is toxic kills. So it can kill relationships, can kill like the world that you're trying to build. It can kill, just your own morality. It can kill a whole lot of things. So there's nothing that can come from toxicity. So one of the things when I heard this and I was thinking about, our discussion for today is that I often brought in some of my own insecurities into the relationships that I've had, whatever relationship. It could have been work relationships or friendships or, romantic relationships, and bringing those insecurities in and then expecting the other person to like overcompensate for them or fix them or notice them and cater to them and all those things. And so I didn't bring in the responsibility of myself. Mm-hmm. And how it affected those relationships or even me is that I, one, just didn't work. So I wasn't encouraged or willing to do the work and move forward. It made me, in some instances, I never considered myself to be needy, but when you bring in insecurities and you're expecting the other person to fix them, then it makes you more needy, makes you more clingy, and makes it more difficult to let certain things go. And that leads into another thing that I had gone through, which was but you end up holding on to things that may not be good. May not be good for you. So then it perpetuates the toxicity, because then now you're in something that's not good enough for you, and that's another thing that's attached to you. Then you go to the next thing and you never fix those broken first place, and then you got an extra brokenness. So yeah.
Okay. Well, she mentioned jealousy. I have been one of those people that has dealt with jealousy, and the reason being it's kind of sort of what you said, because I'm kind of holding on to feelings or things that I went through in the past that brings them insecurities into whatever it is. And it's never really been with friendships, because, I ain't saying like, you my best friend and you can't have no other friend, but it's more dealing with, relationships, intimate relationships that I've been in, because I'm holding on to past hurt and damage, that was caused, to me by other people, the cheating, the lying, and, everything that falls in line with those, those aspects. And when I see, um, may look like similar traits in another person, I automatically assume, oh, this is going to happen to me again. So I have to change those things, you know what I'm saying? Or I have to address those things, and it may or may not be the case. So I, in turn, change, react as if I'm dealing with the person that has hurt me in the past.
Yeah.
But granted, I don't start the relationship that way. I give them 100% of myself, and 100% trust, 100% honesty. But once I see a familiar, you know, uh, trait, or action, then I automatically go back to, oh, well, such and such did me like that, so it must be the same thing, So I think that's my biggest, my biggest toxic trait.
Yeah, I could see that. I mean, it's been friends for as long as we have, and we seen most of your relationships. I don't think I've seen all of them, but I could see how that was there, because as soon as you would see something, I'll go, gotta go, and I don't give it a opportunity to fix itself. And then I'm gonna say, out of the relationships that I've had, it's been two of my past that I actually gave chance to fix it, and gave chance to, to do that. And they were, years of of a long-term relationship, that I thought was worth fighting for. But if I look at you and be like, you know what, I could do better without you. I was having before I met you. So you just gotta go. you just gotta go, because now you're destroying my peace right now. If I got to sit up here and worry about what you're doing, you gotta go. Right.
But out of all the relationships I've had, it's been two that I felt like was worth fighting for. And so I would give them the opportunity to change, or show me that it's not what I'm thinking, and whether it would happen. And okay, I'm gonna let my guard down, but then I see something else and I lock right back up, So it's hard to get that angle. So it's hard to let that go.
For sure. I mean, once you've been hurt, you don't want to be hurt anymore. Right. You're in a place where you're trying to stay defensive. Well, want to be open, but
right.
I really how to be open. And yeah, and that was one of the things. Why, on one hand, it could be toxic, I guess, but on the other hand, it was one of those things that when I looked at it from the outside, I was like, I wish I could do that. Because that's another thing that's kind of like a behavior for me, that holding on to things too long, whatever it is, whatever type of, it could be a thought process, it could be a certain thing that I do, it could be a certain relationship. Holding on to things way too long and not just being able to just like, all right, this isn't for me, and I'm done. Right. And so that was one of the things when I looked at it, I was like, I wish I knew how to do that. I could just be bold enough, courageous enough, like, nah. And so I sat in things way too long, and it just was, it wasn't good for me. It wasn't fun. Right. I looked up, I would say, for the last 10 years, and what I went through the last year, I looked up at one point and just didn't even know who I was. And that was so different for me, because at one point I was a little bit more confident-ish. But for that 10 years, everything for me just shut down. It was like nothing. There was no growth. There was no change. There was no looking inward. It was looking at the outward circumstance and getting swallowed up in that. Right. And then that ended, that period of time ended. And I looked at him, I was like, you really just wasted 10 years not growing, not challenging yourself, not doing anything different. Like, girl, we don't know how much time we have. And so that was something, not the reason for the 10 years I wasn't upset about. The absence of attention and growth and attention to myself was. That's the thing that I regret the most. But I couldn't, that thing in me just can't be like, all right, Snip, let's go on to the next thing, right? And so it's hard for me. And that's one of the things I found to outgrow, right? At this almost mid-century mark, because Jesus.
Understand, and I hear you, and I understand exactly, because of course, been my best friend for I don't know how long, you know what I'm saying? And so, you know, as a friend, all you can do is encourage their decisions and stuff like that. And we all have those things within us that is sometimes it's hard to let go. As far as, relationship goes, it's like, do I want to? I need to, but no, something happened will pull you right back. And so it's always hard to deal with things that have a hold on you, and you do lose yourself, because I've lost myself in several relationships in my past. But again, once it get to that point to where, and I think, having, my girls, actually is what helped me with the decision. Because I have to look at them as like, I wouldn't want them to go through this. I wouldn't want them to witness this, because when you have kids, or when you're young, I ain't gonna say when you have kids, when you're young, you look at what's happening around you, and you pay attention to what's happening around you, and your life starts, making changes, or your mind starts making changes. When I get older, I don't want to do that. I don't want to go through that. I see the hurt. I see the pain. And for me, I have 4 daughters. And if they see me going through this, they're going to end up dating the same type of person, or having the same type of friends, and they're going to put up with this. And I don't want that for them. I wouldn't want that for friends. I wouldn't want that I wouldn't even want it for my enemies. So it's just like, if I change, maybe that'll give them to say, hey, my mama went through it, or my friend went through it, and I saw her come out of this. Take note. You know what I'm saying? Because life lessons is all about, learning from mistakes, whether they're your mistakes or they're mistakes that you witness. So, I felt like I had to be that person, because I'm everybody's best friend. You know what I'm saying? Like, I make friends with anybody, and and it's not just friends, like, it's long term. Like, I stick with you, I do anything for anybody to do anything for me, you know what I'm saying? So it's like, I felt like I had to be that person to show, hey, this can be changed. I did it, and because of relationships that, people meet me, and then it's just like, it's hard for me to let go. It's hard for them to let go because of the connection. And so I might learn by example, learn by example. And, and I try to hope, I hope that, somebody take from me what they can learn in their own life and use me as an example, because when I hurt. So if you see that hurt and you don't want to mimic that hurt, then have courage to change,
Yeah, it's better to change. So I know it's kind of hard to say, because you've been around for a long. How old is you? 24. Should be 24 this year. 23.
Yes, 24 this year.
Okay, so a long time being a mom. So do you think that you would have made those changes and been able to say, I don't want this still, even if you weren't doing it as an example for your girl?
If I didn't have these kids, I'd be on somebody's pole.
What the goodness?
I mean,
Right.
I wouldn't be nobody's example if I didn't have kids. So, at the age that I've had them, I had my first daughter, like I said, 24 years ago. I was in high school still, so my life as a kid growing up, I was isolated. I was kind of stuck to myself. I had friends. You know what I'm saying, but it's just like I was such an in-house girl. To where when I got old enough to, graduated high school, whatever the case is, and got old enough to want to get out, I ran to Houston. And when I ran in Houston, I discovered a part of myself that I didn't have when I was in my hometown. So I was being exposed to different types of environment, different types of people, and I recreated myself, you know what I'm saying? But I still had the knowledge in the back of my head that I am also a parent, and that comes first. And so if I didn't have these kids,
Thank the Lord for the children.
hallelujah, Jesus. If I didn't have these kids, I don't think that I would be in the place that I am in now. By far. By far. I would be a retired stripper right now, y'all.
Retired stripper? Like my dear?
I would be delicious.
Oh,
Yes. So I thank God for my children. Hallelujah.
But what makes it even funny? It's probably too, but who knows? But you got to get around that. They can't get motivation,
Right.
so part of their motivation, right, to change to be different. What other things? Because I'm pretty sure if I had any of my exes, not that there's many, they were like, well, you did this, you said this, you didn't do that, and maybe that's part of the problem too, not having a whole lot of awareness of what the actual things are. But what I did come to discover recently is that I held a lot of, or I gave a lot of responsibility for the other person to do differently, to change and to conform it to what I want or needed. And that was completely wrong, right? Because nobody's going to be or can be anything other than themselves, right? Oh my gosh. They can't be anything other than themselves. But Crystal was like, oh no. Do you see me? Do you know who I am? Having this kind of thing. Don't you want to change for me? And we're getting mad. Had the audacity to get me mad at people, right? Being who they are, right? And then when they ask me to be anything other than what I am, why I gotta change? Like I'm perfect, right? Who are you? What am I doing? Ain't nobody better than me. Have the audacity to want them to change and get mad for them to, for choosing who they are or being who they are. Yes. And what kind of mess is that? I can't even answer that question because I feel like at this moment in time, at the age that we are in, over 40, y'all, I just realized I think that's why we best friends. Because I have that same, maybe in a different aspect, but same aspect. Because I feel like, because I was able to overcome this, I'm good. So if I get with somebody, you know what I'm saying, somebody get with me and I see a trait in them that I don't like, oh, you need to fix that. Well, what's wrong with you? Ain't nothing wrong with me, but it's something wrong with you. You know what I'm saying? And I'm about that bold to say that. Oh my God. Listen, if you don't want the truth, don't ask. Don't ask me. I'm sorry, y'all. And then I have no filter with it. I'm like, I'm going to tell you this, because, man, I mean, I'd rather be a friend and hurt your feelings than to be, you know what I'm saying, trying to, okay, I give some sugar on the cake, but, it comes with sour patches. So it's a little raunchy. It's not refined at all.
And so, but I keep my mouth closed until you ask. I ain't saying other you ask. I'm gonna support you in your decision and how you feel and what you want to do. Well, I'm your friend and I'm gonna support you through it and I'm gonna encourage you through it. But if you ask me, okay, so how do you feel?
Mm-hmm.
I'm gonna tell you.
Well, sit down, friend.
Let's talk about it because I don't want that person to do it. You did it for me.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? But you have such a very counselor personality about you to where, I know that if it was coming from me, how it will come out. But you know what I'm saying? So I appreciate you, you know what I'm saying? But you could be a little bit more raw with me sometimes, because I'm like, because she's making me choose. And now you got me thinking about it, and I just really want you to tell me as a friend. But why I gotta go through this and I'm taking essays and stuff and don't trying to get my life together? I just ask you what your opinion is, But at the same time, like what I'm saying, I wish I could be like that, but I'm not. So if you call yourself my friend, you just gonna have to deal with what come out of my mouth.
Mm-hmm. Well, I go there because I feel like I can't tell people what to do. Well, so that kind of contradicts what I just but because I don't want nobody trying to tell me what to do. Right. Hear me, you give me your feedback and your opinion, but ultimately the trust is gonna be mine. So I ain't space for that. Right. Like, okay, this is what I think about it. But hey, friend, hey, if you wanna go and strip or whatever it is, maybe back then. Maybe once upon a time in fantasy. But didn't I just get a stripper quote for my birthday this year? You did it. I did. I hung it up in my kid's house. And I go over there every now and then, try to, you know what I'm saying? But I can't put that in my house. I just sanctified Holy Spirit. When I go there every now and then, think I'm better, okay, this ain't me. But it's fun. I just hold on to it and walk his hand to that. That's it. You work on your upper body. That's it. You know what I'm saying? But I try to pull it back a little bit. Try to walk backwards a little bit. And I was like, nah, let me bring it back up because if I get out of hand, get out of hand. But a part of that is still in me, but I know how to act. But we all got a little bit of this, but and we can do with it. Yes, but yeah. So I stopped going back to what I was saying. I stopped doing that. Like it's hard though to just be completely 100% accepting, and then realizing that the responsibility is yours, right, to stay or go, to whatever the situation is. You cannot expect anybody to change. You can't. And that was a hard part to swallow. In my current relationship, that's what it was. I mean, and then it wasn't like I didn't know what I was walking into. It's not like, if it's not like he presented himself in a three-piece suit. He didn't come to me speaking with a vernacular that, was very demure. He came as himself, right? He came and gave me everything. So it's not like I didn't know going in what I was getting. Right. But when I got in, I was like, looked around, I don't like this. We need to change something. Right. And I know you did it encouragingly. Yeah. Uh-oh. The hesitation. The replacement, because that was almost 14 years ago when we first got together. So, sometimes I got to reflect back on some things. But, that's toxic. Whoever they are, you don't have to like it, but you also don't have to be it. Right. And I feel like that's one of the biggest issues of my current past relationship. Not the current past, but the current past relationship. It's like this is where my life is right now. And I want to be with you, but it don't fit inside my lifestyle. So you're gonna have to change that. Because now you're damaging to my lifestyle. But I want you here, but you got to change that. And again, that's why it's my current past relationship.
but I had to make that decision like, okay, what's more important? Me being with you and trying to change you to be the person that I need you to be, or just for me to be by myself and get my life together because I know still some things I have to work on for me. And that's what I chose. At the end of the day, you have to do what's best for yourself. And by me having that trait, that toxic trait, to want to change somebody and conform somebody to who I want them to be, at the same time, I love you enough to not want to put you through that.
Yeah.
And that's something that came to me as I got closer to God. I started, there was that scripture, pick in your own eye, you know what I'm saying? You got it in your own eye, so don't be trying to pick out it nobody else eye. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, I had to deal with myself. And I can't change this while I'm with you because I'm gonna continue to want to change this. And so let me just step back, because you can't be the person that I need you to be right now. And I can't be the person that, you need me to be right now. Like, and it could be just simple changes. It could be just simple issues, simple conflicts. But at the same time, I feel like if it's going to, being transparent, if it's going to become a issue between me and God, if it's going to, interfere with my relationship with God, then it's automatically got to go. And that was hard for me to do. That was hard for me to let go of. You know what I'm saying? Because that was, holding to a 20-year relationship, that it was just like, I can't do this anymore because I'm elevating in life. God is calling me to do some work with him. And you're still stuck on who we used to be together. Now, it's not that he didn't encourage me to, do it, but I wanted you to join in with me. I wanted you to be on my level, and you wasn't on my level, so I had a problem.
Yeah.
So
he was on his level.
He was on his level, I was on my level, but because we wasn't on the same level, I viewed that as a distraction, and I had to make that choice, well, now I have to do what's best for me, because I don't want to continue to be that toxic person in your life. Because you're going to have to make, decisions for your own life. And so knowing that and trying to change, who I am to be a better person, then I chose to just, end things and let it go, because again, I had to realize what my toxic trait was. And to be a better person, I had to change it. Goes back to what I was saying earlier. I'm the type of person that if I feel like, I can be an example to some. I'm just popping my if I feel like I can be an example to somebody, you know what I'm saying, and encouragement to myself and to the people that are watching me, you know what I'm saying, I have to show change. And so I think that's where I am in this level of life. I have to continue, to show change. And become a better person.
Well, yeah, excuse me. Oh, you're right. I think one of the things that stuck out, and what you said was being willing to let that other person go, and not just because of where you are, but not letting them go and wanting or expecting them to change, but be selfish and holding on to someone because it's familiar or it's good for you. And all the while that person might be thinking, okay, well, we're good. We're in this relationship. We're moving forward. And tying up their time to go and do and be whatever they want to do and be while y'all are in different spaces. Right. So I think some toxic traits are just so self-centered. It's about the self and what you want, right, and not thinking about how it really is impacted the other person.
Right.
And how you take it at that time too.
Right. Exactly. Exactly.
Mhm. So with all of that, and further exploration, I'm just like, where did these come from? Like for you, the things that you believe are toxic about you and me thinking about my toxic traits. How did we get there?
Um, it's funny. I never thought about it until you just asked, and the first thing that popped into my head was my dad, right? Because with my daddy, I could do no wrong. I was the perfect girl. He was always encouraging me. You doing good. I, you're a good parent. You're a good person. You got a good heart. You da 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 da.
Mhm.
And you know what I'm saying, continue to seek God. Continue to be this person. Continue. So it's like I was encouraged that I was a perfect person.
Oh,
So and every time I talked to my dad, you know what I'm saying, it was always, we catching up or whatever the case is, but the conversation will always end on an encouraging note. Or if I ever had an issue to where I'm going through something, I go talk to my dad. He was my go-to person. And, he would let me know, ever since I could remember, you've been this, you've been this, you've been this. So he put it into my head that can't nobody do better than me. I'm the perfect person. I'm the perfect friend. I'm the perfect relationship. I'm the perfect mama. You know what I'm saying? And I feel like that's where it came from. Like, well, one of the things that he used to say, if a person can't do what daddy can do, then I don't need him. So if I got to call my daddy for anything, then I don't need you.
oh,
So if I got to call my daddy for money, then what I got you for? If I got to call my daddy for encouragement, what I got you for? If I got to call my daddy because I need, what do I have you for?
yeah.
So basically, he taught me that I was the treat, I was the gift.
Well, to some degree, I mean, you have to leave that.
Yeah, you know what I'm saying? But I feel like also that's where that perfectness came, thought mindset came from.
Mhm.
Like what I gotta change for? Ain't nothing wrong with me.
Mhm.
Oh, you think something wrong with me? I'm gonna call my daddy. Daddy, you know what I'm saying? This is what's happening. This is what's being said, baby. You know what I'm saying? Let me tell you something. You know what I'm saying? So, and it was never a point to where he told me this is something that is not healthy. It's not good. I never had to hear them words. So I thought I was perfect.
Wow, that's that thing that I would have, thought
Yeah.
that it would have come from that, or you about this stuff that said I am perfect, and if my daddy can do it, then you're nothing.
Right. Right. And it was like that.
That is crazy. Well, everything about toxic thinking patterns is out of control. But I don't know. I don't really know where, how insecurity or any of that was birthed out of me. Like I don't know where that came um, from my earlier years. I don't know. I just know that things just started happening and wasn't good.
Right.
And so I don't really know. Um, but I got it happened, and I think too. Well, part of the reason I think there may have been some insecurity, and as it relates at least to romantic relationships and things, is because of the I guess sexual abuse that I endured, and um, by one of my babysitters' son, and another incident where you know there was a member of church that took advantage of me in a lot of ways, and I don't know how those things tie in together to their forming some level of insecurity, but whenever I think about it, I do go back to some of those moments. Yeah. So, and then from there, um, my eating disorder developed, and that was wild. in and of itself, and definitely should have been somewhere getting some help, but that was a secret struggle. And, but it was, for me, it felt like something that was in my control. It felt good and bad at the same time. Right. It's like, girl, what are we doing? Eat this food and stop playing. Yeah, yep, yeah. So going through all of that, I don't know. And it's not like I didn't have good parents. It's not like my parents were, mean, neglectful, or abusive. It wasn't any of that. A lot of stories that people go have when they develop certain characteristics. I didn't have that in my family. So, no clue. But I'll continue to figure it out, though, because that's what I need to do. Because at this point, I don't want it to continue to affect time, or I don't want my insecurities to make the decisions for me. Right. Yeah. And that's just something that, prayer and fasting and focusing on, health, getting healthier in a mindset that, it can be shown to you, because I know that's something that I had to do for myself, to let go of some past pain and stuff like that from, old friendships, family members and stuff like that I've had to deal with. And it was encouraged to me that I need to go under, fasting and praying, and so that those things can be released. And I did it for 2 weeks, and on them 2 weeks, it was like the Lord just kept showing me, things that had happened. And I'm like, why am I thinking about this? But also, he brought it up because it was something that needs to be prayed over. And, you can break those chains through prayer, And I think that's what helped me a lot, some years ago, to start releasing those things. And then actually, recently, within the past couple of years, I've had to do the same thing, because, as I'm, getting further into my relationship and into ministry, I could be laying in bed, and a thought across my mind about something that was hurtful or something like that. I'm like, why am I thinking about this? Why did this something just pop into my head about something that happened in high school? You know what I'm saying? And it was because that's something that's deep down inside of us, that we done swallowed and hid and, digested, but it didn't come out. It's still there, and so because it's still there, that can still affect, even if it's not in our conscience, it can still affect how we operate, because we know that there's some hurt there. We know that there's some pain there. That we know that there's something that's causing us to be how we are that is not healthy. You know what I'm saying? And it's there because now that it's come up to the surface, that's another thing that I need to pray for. That's another thing that I need to kind of destroy, you know what I'm saying, and move forward from there. And that has been really helpful lately. I went to visit our home church a couple weeks ago, and I haven't been there, I think we was talking about it earlier. I hadn't been there in so many years. And I went for Bible study, and after Bible study, they told us to pray up and get into a prayer, get with a prayer partner. Had my prayer partner, I moved forward. I'm, speaking to people I haven't seen in years. And then all of a sudden, one of my cousins come up, and she tells me, she say, while I was praying, I kept hearing your voice. And she said, and I'm going to tell you, she said, there's stuff that was hurting you. She say, it's stuff that you think about that causes your pain, that hurts you. She said, it's time to let it go. It's time to let it go. And she said, it's time to forgive. It's time to pray on it and let it go. And she said, and the biggest person that you need to forgive is yourself for allowing it to happen. And I, like I said, I kept thinking about all this old stuff, and I'm like, why is this stuff popping into my head? But it wasn't until then that I realized, I need to really let go of this stuff, and, personally, there's been things that has happened, or, people who has, had a negative effects on me from childhood, you know what I'm saying, that I
just, well, you know what, this happened, so I ain't gonna worry about it. I'm just gonna move forward. I'm the type of person, I'm gonna run from my problems. If I don't like it, you know what, just fine. I ain't gonna deal with it. I'm gonna put it on the back burner and I'm gonna move forward with my life. So those things that I pushed out the way are now coming back to haunt me. Why? Because I never dealt with it. I never healed. And so now it's time that I'm in, the position I am in now. It's some things that's going to keep me from moving forward. So pray on it. Forgive. And like, she told me, forgive yourself for allowing, for allowing you, because you allow you to hide and hold, you know what, I, I'm going to let it go. And that's how you kind of move forward from those hurtful things, and to keep you from holding on to past hurt and pain, which is, we just learned, is a toxic trait, because that interferes with what we got going on currently. Even though it's something we don't think about, it's something that interferes with us on a daily basis.
Yeah, and becomes part of your makeup.
Right.
It changes how you see things, how you feel about yourself, how you feel about others. And it could do it in a very slow way where you don't even know that it's happening.
Right.
But it's happening, and you look up and you feel different, and you're expressing yourself differently or whatever. Right. So yeah, I do, and I don't know that I'm holding on to pain or anger about the situation, about any of those situations. I know that they are there. Well, I have to say I'm not holding on to unforgiveness.
Right.
About it, because people are who they are. No matter what kind of situation you find yourself in with them, they are who they are. So forgiving that, and letting that go, and letting go of the expectation where you are supposed to do this or not do that. Because the only thing that you can expect from people to give you is what they got.
Right.
So at the time, you were somebody who was this, or I was somebody who was this, or doing that, or saying this and that. That's all I had to give. Right. And so forgetting, yeah. And then just dealing with like whatever the outcome is, right, from that. It's just where I'm at. So, but yeah, I'll continue to dig. I know there are things that are, associated to family history, generational things, and upbringing and all that stuff. But there's no one to blame or no one to look at but yourself, regardless of any and anything, right? How your life is. I heard a quote, and really ready to end it. I heard a quote the other day, and I'm going to try to get it right. The quote says something like, when you were born, you look like your parent. When you die, you look like your decision.
Wow.
Okay.
Okay.
And I was like, oh, so let me go to this mirror. Let me think about the sentence that made me look like.
Right.
And so that quote kind of is one that we very, very reflect, or help you to be reflective.
So what's your decision make you look like?
Girl, I don't know. That's where I'm trying to figure out. That's my journey.
Wow. I love it.
So anyway, ladies and gents, I so appreciate your attention, and I hope that in all that has been said, all through the seriousness and through some of the laughter, that there's something there that can really help you wherever you are. Because you deserve to be in a, and I hate to use journey because I feel like it's overused, but you deserve to be in a process that frees you, heals you, and allows you to just really live truly in your life. Because that's what this podcast is all about. We strive to live a life that is fit, that's free, intentional, and true. And so that is my hope for all of my listeners, all of my supporters. Let's all thank Niecy for her insights and for sharing so candidly. If you like what you've heard, I would love it if you would join my community. Go like, follow, subscribe to The Full and Brave on YouTube, and for your listening pleasure on any podcast streaming service of your choosing, because you can find me there as well. So feel free to reach out 346-248-8348. And I will see you next time. Until then, stay fit, people. Bye. Bye.